The child sat alone, drawing. John Wayne saw him. Wayne could have walked past. He didn't. St. John's Hospital, Santa Monica. February 1977. Late afternoon light filtering through institutional windows, casting long shadows across pale green walls. The kind of light that makes hospitals feel even lonelier than they already are. John Wayne had been visiting. Not for publicity. Not for cameras. The Duke came to hospitals quietly in those years, when his own body was betraying him, when he understood what it meant to sit in rooms that smelled of antiseptic and fear. He was 70 years old. Lung cancer survivor. One lung gone. The other struggling. But still standing. Still walking. Still showing up. He'd spent an hour on the 3rd floor, visiting wounded veterans. Men who'd fought in Vietnam and come home to a country that didn't want to look at them. Wayne sat with each one. Listened. Didn't make speeches. Just sat. The way a man sits with other men who've carried weight. Now he was leaving. Walking down the 2nd floor corridor toward the elevator. His breathing labored. Each step deliberate. His publicist walking 2 paces behind, checking his watch, thinking about the next appointment. That's when Wayne saw the child. Corner of the hallway. Where the corridor turned toward the pediatric wing. A small boy, maybe 7, 8 years old. Sitting on the cold linoleum floor, back against the pale green wall. Hospital gown hanging loose on his thin frame. Bare feet. Dark circles under his eyes. In his hands, a piece of paper and a stubby red crayon. The boy wasn't crying. Wasn't calling for anyone. Just drawing. Focused entirely on the paper. As if the rest of the world had disappeared and only that drawing mattered. Wayne slowed his pace. His publicist didn't notice at first, kept walking, kept talking about the schedule. Then realized Wayne wasn't beside him anymore. Duke? We should. Wayne held up one hand. The universal gesture for quiet. He stood there. Watching the child. Something in the boy's posture, that absolute stillness, that complete withdrawal into himself, struck something deep in the old actor. Wayne didn't raise his voice. He didn't have to. The publicist stepped back. Waited. Watched as John Wayne, Hollywood legend, walked slowly toward the child sitting alone on the hospital floor. Wayne's boots made soft sounds on the linoleum. The boy didn't look up. Didn't acknowledge the approaching footsteps. Just kept drawing. Wayne stopped 3 feet away. Looked down at the small figure. Then, with effort, his body protesting, his missing lung making the movement harder than it should be, he lowered himself to one knee. His cowboy hat came off. He set it on the floor beside him. What are you drawing? Wayne's voice was quiet. That distinctive rumble, but gentler than it ever sounded in movies. The boy didn't answer. Didn't look up. His crayon kept moving across the paper in slow, deliberate strokes. Wayne didn't push. He just waited. Kneeling there on the hospital floor, breathing carefully, watching this child who had built walls around himself that even a movie star couldn't breach with words alone. After a long moment, Wayne shifted. Sat fully on the floor, back against the wall beside the boy. His large frame settling in, committing to being there. Not rushing. Not performing. Just being present. I used to draw when I was a boy, Wayne said, not looking at the child but at the empty hallway ahead. Horses mostly. I wasn't very good. But I liked it. Made me feel like I could control something, you know? Put things on paper the way I wanted them to be. The crayon paused. Just for a second. Then continued. Wayne reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a folded piece of paper. An old habit from film sets, he always carried a few sheets for autographs, for notes, for whatever needed writing down. He smoothed it on his knee. You got another crayon? The boy's hand stopped moving. His head turned slightly. Not looking at Wayne directly, but acknowledging his presence for the first time. Slowly, the child reached into the pocket of his hospital gown and pulled out a blue crayon. extended it toward Wayne without making eye contact. Wayne took it carefully. "Thank you." He began to draw. Simple lines. A horse. Crude and imperfect, the kind of drawing a child might make. He worked slowly, deliberately, his large weathered hands awkward with the small crayon. The boy watched. Not obviously. Peripheral vision. But watching. "My name's John," Wayne said, still drawing. "Though most folks call me Duke." "What's your name?" Silence. Then, so quiet Wayne almost missed it. "Michael." "Michael. That's a good strong name." Wayne finished the horse. It looked terrible. He held it up, examining it critically. "Well, I'm out of practice. This horse looks like it's been kicked by another horse." The ghost of something, not quite a smile, but close, flickered across Michael's face. Wayne set his drawing aside. "Can I see what you're making?" Michael hesitated. Then slowly turned his paper so Wayne could see. It was a house. Simple. 4 walls. Triangle roof. Rectangle door. Square windows. And in front of the house stick figures. A man. A woman. 2 children. "That's beautiful," Wayne said, and meant it. "Is that your family?" Michael nodded. "Where are they now?" The boy's shoulders tensed. His hand gripped the crayon tighter. "Mom's working. Dad's—" He stopped. "I don't know where Dad is. Haven't seen him in a long time." Wayne absorbed this. "And your sister or brother?" "Sister. She's in school. She doesn't know I'm here." Michael's voice was flat, emotionless, the way children sound when they're working very hard not to feel anything. "Does anybody know you're here? Besides the doctors?" Michael shook his head. Wayne felt something tighten in his chest. Not physical, though his damaged lungs certainly felt tight. Something deeper. The recognition of a particular kind of loneliness he understood too well. Subscribe and leave a comment, because the most important part of this story is still unfolding. To understand what happened next, you need to understand what John Wayne was carrying in 1977. He wasn't just a movie star visiting a hospital. He was a man haunted by specific ghosts. Chief among them, he had never served in World War II. While other actors his age, Jimmy Stewart, Henry Fonda, Clark Gable, had enlisted and fought, Wayne had received a deferment. Family obligations. Studio pressure. His career was exploding. He was becoming the face of American masculinity on screen while other men were dying on beaches and in jungles. He spent the rest of his life trying to make up for it. Playing soldiers. Playing heroes. Supporting veterans. Visiting hospitals. But nothing ever quite erased the guilt. The sense that he played patriots while real patriots bled. And now, at 70, dying slowly from cancer, he was still trying to pay that debt. But sitting on this hospital floor with a child who'd been abandoned in the most fundamental way, not by death or war, but by simple absence, Wayne recognized something else. A different kind of service. A different kind of showing up. "Michael," Wayne said, "do you know who I am?" The boy shook his head. "I make movies. Westerns mostly. I play cowboys and soldiers. I've been doing it for 40 years. Michael looked at him directly for the first time. "Are you famous?" "Some folks think so." "Do you have kids?" Wayne smiled sadly. 7 of them. All grown now. I wasn't always there for them the way I should have been. Made a lot of movies. Traveled a lot. Missed a lot of birthdays and school plays and regular Tuesday nights. Do they hate you? The question was so direct, so childishly honest, that Wayne actually laughed. "No, they don't hate me. But I think sometimes they wish I'd been home more. Been a regular dad instead of John Wayne." Michael processed this. "My dad wasn't famous. He just left. I'm sorry." "It's okay." But the way Michael said it, automatic, practiced, suggested it absolutely was not okay. Wayne looked down the empty hallway. Nurses at a distant station. Doctors hurrying past, not noticing them. The institutional loneliness of hospitals. The way they can make you invisible even when you're sitting in plain sight. Away from the cameras, Wayne made a choice no one expected. He pulled a business card from his wallet. Expensive cardstock. Simple printing, John Wayne. And a phone number. He handed it to Michael. This is my private number. Not many people have it. But I want you to have it. Michael stared at the card like it might disappear. Why? Because sometimes you need to know somebody's there. Even if you don't call. Even if you just keep it in your pocket and know you could call if you needed to. That matters. What if I do call? Then I'll answer. Or someone in my office will, and they'll find me. And we'll talk. About what? Wayne considered this. About whatever you want. About drawings. About being scared in hospitals. About dads who leave. About anything. Michael's fingers closed around the card. The doctors say I have to stay here a long time. There's something wrong with my blood. Leukemia? The boy nodded. Wayne had visited enough children's cancer wards to know what that meant. The long treatments. The uncertainty. The way childhood gets stolen by illness. That's hard, Wayne said simply. Not offering false hope. Not pretending it wasn't terrible. Just acknowledging the truth. I don't want to die, Michael whispered. I know. Are you going to die? Wayne didn't flinch from the question. Someday. Everybody does. I'm old and I'm sick, so probably sooner than I'd like. But not today. Me neither, Michael said fiercely. Not today. Not today, Wayne agreed. They sat together in silence. The hospital sounds around them, distant beeping, hushed voices, the squeak of rubber soles on linoleum. But in their corner, stillness. Finally, Wayne pushed himself to his feet. It took effort. His knee cracked. His breath came short. But he stood. He picked up his cowboy hat. Looked down at Michael still sitting against the wall. I have to go now. But Michael! He waited until the boy looked up at him. You keep drawing. You keep making those houses and families. You put on paper how you want things to be. That's not foolish. That's not childish. That's hope. And hope matters. Michael nodded. Wayne started to walk away. Made it 3 steps. Then stopped. He turned back. Walked to where his drawing lay on the floor, the crude horse he'd made. He picked it up, folded it carefully, and handed it to Michael. Keep this too. So you remember that even the Duke can't draw worth a damn. Nobody's perfect. And that's okay. This time, Michael almost smiled. Really smiled. Wayne touched the brim of his hat, that characteristic gesture from 100 films, and walked away down the corridor. His publicist fell into step beside him. That was... Duke, that was really something. Wayne didn't respond. Just kept walking, breathing carefully, one hand pressed against his chest where the missing lung used to be. But what followed would stay with everyone who witnessed it, forever. Michael kept the business card. Carried it in his hospital gown pocket through 3 months of treatment. Chemotherapy. Radiation. The terrible sickness that came with trying to save his life. He called the number twice. The first time, 2 weeks after meeting Wayne, when the treatment made him so sick he wanted to give up. A secretary answered. Michael stammered out who he was. 5 minutes later, John Wayne himself was on the line. They talked for 20 minutes. About nothing important. About drawings. About a horse Wayne had owned as a young man. About Michael's sister, who'd finally been allowed to visit. Wayne didn't give advice. Didn't make speeches. Just talked. Just was there on the other end of the phone. The second time Michael called was 3 months later. To tell Wayne he was going home. The treatment had worked. He was in remission. Wayne's voice on the phone sounded weaker than Michael remembered. But the warmth was still there. That's good news, son. Real good news. Will I see you again? Michael asked. There was a long pause. Maybe. But Michael, you don't need me anymore. You've got your own strength now. That was the last time they spoke. John Wayne died 2 years later, in 1979. Michael kept the business card and the crude horse drawing. He carried them through high school, through college, through medical school. Share and subscribe. Some stories deserve to be remembered. Dr. Michael Chin is a pediatric oncologist now. He works at St. John's Hospital in Santa Monica. The same hospital where he once sat alone drawing on a floor. In his office, framed on the wall beside his medical degree, hangs a child's drawing of a house with stick figures. And next to it, a terrible sketch of a horse, signed in faded blue crayon. Duke. When young patients come to him scared and alone, he sits on the floor with them. He brings paper and crayons. And he tells them about the day John Wayne didn't walk past. The lesson wasn't complicated. It was simple: stop. Sit down. Be there. That's all. That's everything.